What's up, Spice Warriors? It's FitzBro, and the multiplayer is now live for the early access of Dune Spice Wars, and this is something we've been waiting for all June. The developers told us it was coming, and the month was almost over, but here we go. We got the update, so let's dig into the patch notes, what you can expect here at the multiplayer, and I'll take a brief look at the in-game UI for getting started with your very first multiplayer game and some of its features. Now, if you have not picked up Dune Spice Wars yet, you can notice over here, it is currently 20% off. You can pick this up for $23.99. This is US dollars here for me on Steam or the Microsoft Store. So check that out if you have not picked it up. If you're a fan of RTSs, 4X strategy, if you've played Stellaris or Civilization and you like those games, this is probably going to be a fun one for you. Okay, let's check this out. Today, band together in 2v2 matches or face each other in a free-for-all of up to 4 players. So that's going to be the amount of players we can have in a multiplayer game. We already knew this. Take the reins of Atreides, Harkonnen, Fremen, or the Smugglers. Any open spots can be filled with AI-controlled factions. So if you want to team up with a buddy and maybe do a 2v2 against some AI, that can also be an option for you. In difficulty from easy to insane, and each game can be tailored to suit your preferences, including map size, sandworm, all the typical activities we've seen, and the victory conditions. And I'll show you a little more of this when we look at the in-game setup for a multiplayer lobby. So this is the trailer that was released at that preview we saw just like a week ago. Nothing really new here. They just added some text over the typical starting video, so we're not going to watch that. In addition to multiplayer, they've reworked every development tree, so there's going to be some significant experimentation, and you can expect future videos from me as I go through this with a focus on synergy between factions, and added new political resolutions, events, regions, and a whole load of other improvements, which you can see in the patch notes below. I was talking to the developers on Discord, and they said there is like over 1,500 changes. So as you're wondering, why don't we have a note of every single change? It's because there's just so much has changed. There's been a complete overhaul of the game, which is just, it's refreshing to see how hard they're working at this game. We've taken efforts to make Spice Wars true to Frank Herbert's source material. Deliver experience delivers the same sense of grand machinations, subtle political plotting, and great reversals. Yeah, who's gonna betray me in a multiplayer game? I can just see it coming already. I already told my friends, I was like, I don't know if I can play this game with you unless we're on team, because these FFAs, they could get dirty. With multiplayer, the potential for these slow boils and epic moments skyrocket as players vie for the upper hand on each stage of war. Okay, so let's look at what the new features are here for Dune Spice Wars here as of June 20th. Multiplayer dedicated servers and peer-to-peer, new regions, new resolutions, new events, new underworld headquarter buildings, new building illustrations, and confirmation before attacking a siege. Has anyone else accidentally attacked a siege? I definitely have, so like to see that. So just tons of new features here. They don't go into complete depth, so we're going to have to explore and figure that out. But don't worry, I'll be here helping you out as we go. Reworks, balance and tweaks of almost everything. My kind of patch note. I gave them a little crap for this. I shared it in the Discord. I was like, are there more notes? Like, what? This almost everything. Okay, well, rework of the Harkonnen units, wreckers, rework of the military aggro system, improved AI, faction limit for Fremen Siege's buildings. Charters can now have flexible eligibility during deciding and voting phases. Eliminated factions during decide and voting phase now properly get removed. That's good, because it used to be that like a faction that was eliminated could technically somehow still win the game, which was crazy. And they removed spice freighters. Okay, so obviously, like, there's tons of changes to unpack just here, but there's so much that we can't see in these patch notes, and we'll have to dig further into the gameplay. And I'm going to be streaming this live on twitch.tv/FitzBro later this evening after you've watched this video, so we'll be figuring this out together. And they've just marked a known issue with the shader cache. If DirectX only, you have to load all shaders again after the update, with maybe some freezes each time you discover a new shader. Okay, so they've got some an issue they are working on. So that's essentially the patch notes. Let's go over to the in-game client and show you what you'll see here as you load up Dune Spice Wars. Oh, it helps if I that'll work. Okay, so the multiplayer button now was grayed out before, is now you can actually select this. So let's go take a look at this, and you're going to have the option to either join games. Now, this was just released, so it doesn't look like there are any hosted right now. They're probably in progress, but expect to see your games here that you have the options to join. It looks like you have a search feature. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a game. Now, do note, you can also load a multiplayer game. So if you're playing a campaign maybe with a friend and you want to come back to it, it should be easy to save and reload it, I would imagine. So let's go ahead and create a game. And I'm going to do it private just so we don't confuse anyone looking for games right now. But you got the option to name it, decide if you want it to be a private game, and random factions and counselors. So you can make it so players don't get to choose their faction and counselors, which I thought was kind of an interesting little feature they had there if you want the true random FFA experience. But let's go ahead, we'll create this lobby. And this is pretty much what the lobby interface looks like. So I'm going to go here and put myself in the player 1 slot and choose, you can even choose random, but I'm going to just pick a random faction for Emmett, of course. And the UI is kind of different on how you select your counselors. You can see here they just kind of have these pluses here, and you can select the different counselors you want. And then right underneath that, you have the option to decide what team you want to be on. So there's up to 4 teams. And of course, you can either all, you could have a 2v2. You can have whatever you want to do here as far as when you're setting up your teams. And then you can either add AI to slots. So I'll add 2 AIs here and pretend, we were going to, invite one of our friends. I could go ahead and invite someone now, and we could, I could put them on, maybe you'll put them on the team together and we could play together. So that's pretty much this part. And as far as your options over here, the biggest thing you're probably going to be wondering about is, okay, it's multiplayer. This is truly more of an RTS now. We've been watching the game before, and it's like, well, how is this an RTS? You can pause. You can't typically pause in RTSs. But in a multiplayer scenario, you can have the option to have no pause, meaning you're going into those menus, you're going to have to know quickly what you want to choose. You're not going to get to pause and, queue up a next research or do whatever it might be. So I think that's really going to change how this game plays, and we'll have to see, is it a good experience overall? But I'm looking forward to that as an RTS enthusiast myself. But look down here, you can of course change the normal options that you might have, but you can change it so there's either a default speed. So this was make it so it's ×1, 1 times speed the entire time. I'm not sure if I would like this, to be honest. I could see it being really, really long just because I know I speed up quite a bit, but I know it kind of depends on maybe your play style. You can also change it to be 1.2. I can see that maybe being a little more reasonable there. But then there's also an option to have host changes. So this means the host can decide what the game speed is going to be. Now, I could see that being a useful feature in a game where you're amongst friends, maybe playing against the AI. But in a free-for-all, I don't know how this could possibly work out in a good manner, because everyone's going to be in a different spot with their building and what they're trying to do and when they want to change the speed. But those are kind of the options there, which I thought was interesting. And then game pause, you can have no pause, a limited number of pauses, so each player probably gets a few pauses, and then you can have it so only the host can pause. Okay, so those are all your options starting out here for this this first launch of the multiplayer of Dune Spice Wars. You can fully expect me to go through a full-length multiplayer game. I might even play another friend of mine that you might know. Might bring some friends in and see if we can go through. Maybe we'll do a 2v2 against the insane AI, or maybe I should go right into an FFA against some other players. I don't know, but you can expect I'll be uploading some games, whether on YouTube or over on Twitch. But let me know down in the comments what you think about this update, if you're excited to give Dune Spice Wars multiplayer a first try, and I'm looking forward to digging into this. For more Dune Spice Wars content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think about this video. Give it a thumbs up. It helps me out. And of course, you can join my Discord where I've got dedicated Dune channel. Make sure you grab yourself the Dune Spice Wars tag when you join in the roles, and we can discuss more strategy as we move through there. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.